Hi, in today's video, we're going to play a game. I'm actually just recovering from another video that I did in which I got a little bit teary-eyed over two amazing success stories. Maybe we'll link it somewhere on the video here or down below for you to be able to watch that one. You might shed a tear too. But I have another equally awesome success story that's in the making, and we'll talk to you about that one. This happens to be a stroke vision loss, just like the other two, but a little bit different. And we're going to go through all the details of it in just a minute. But before we do, let's talk about how you can connect with us. If you're local, call us at 618-288-1489. If you're not local, that's okay. Go to our website at visionforlifeworks.com, and you can certainly read all the information we have on there. We actually are getting ready to release a specific page on our website that is dedicated solely to stroke and vision loss. So super excited about that getting ready to be released. And so be going back there periodically and watching for that as it's in the works and just about finished. Now, the other thing is that in addition to being able to read some of the stuff on our website, you can take a quiz, or you can also just schedule a consultation to meet with me and talk about how we might be able to help you. Now let's go into talking about this gentleman who is working with us, who is approximately 4 months into his program. He's gone through phase 1. He's now actively in phase 2. Phase 1 is where the patients are simply using Syntonics, which I've also started calling neurological light stimulating filters, because I think it just helps. It makes a little bit more sense that they're actually stimulating the brain. And so how are we going to actually be able to bring someone's vision back post stroke when most doctors say you can't do a darn thing about it, you just have to wait and see, or you're out of luck, Chuck? And that's just not really a great answer, nor is it like anything that anyone really wants to be hearing from their doctor. So with our program, we're doing two things. The first phase is that we're electrically stimulating the brain and the visual pathways to be able to return some of that vision. And then in phase 2, active vision therapy to be able to help restore how the brain is processing with vision. So now let's walk you through and talk to you about the story. I happen to have visual fields, which makes this even more exciting. So in this one, let's take a look at his visual field that he first showed us before he ever began therapy. So this one is several months before he started therapy. And these are his two visual fields, his right and his left eye. But as you can tell when you look at these, there's a very obvious black, dark, distinct section on this visual field. If we look at this one, the same thing. The only thing is this one here has, and this one is just a shading error or some sort of weird glare that we got, but this entire area is black, which means there's no vision that's usable in that area at all. This one, though, has a little something interesting going on. It's like a little cookie-sized bite out of it right up here. And again, this was right after the stroke, but this is an area where the brain is still somewhat able to process seeing in on that one side. Now, this type of a visual field loss is called a homonymous hemianopsia, and that means that one whole side of the visual field is missing post-stroke. So it might be like the right side for both eyes, or it could be the left side for both eyes that's missing, one or the other. Sometimes if you have just a little pie segment, it's called a quadranopsia. It could be like a homonymous quadranopsia if it's occurring in the same spot on the same side. So like an upper quadranopsia that would be homonymous between the right and the left eye. Now, let's take a peek at these a little further, because this was, again, prior to him starting therapy with us. And now let's look at what do we notice happening. Remember, again, I said this is just like a weird little shadow thing. So if you're seeing that and it looks like there's vision there, there really isn't. What we can do is we can go to this graph right next to it where it has a bunch of numbers. And the numbers don't lie. They're going to tell us what's going on. So if we see this all black here, or maybe we're even wondering, wait, that looks a little gray. Does that mean they have some usable vision there? The graph over here says 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 everywhere. No, there's no usable vision. So this is just some sort of a weird reflection or shadow on this particular picture of this. But let's look at the more recent visual field. So this is after 4 months of being in therapy. And if you'll see this one, wow, something interesting is happening here. There seems to be a bite-sized chunk in there that's all of a sudden opened up. And then if we go over here to the corresponding numbers chart, we see that in amongst all of those zeros, where it's just black, 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 and nothing is visible that he can see at all, there happens to be a glimmer of some things popping up that he can start to see again already. And it actually happens to be like just a little bit right below his line of sight. So just slightly below, like down central. And so is helping him out with things like reading and near work that he's doing. But what's interesting about this, if we go over here to the corresponding numbers, it's almost completely, totally normal vision. Right in the middle, just like a little, I don't know, peninsula in the middle of all that visual field loss. So what's exciting about this is that the brain will then begin to start just taking bigger cookie-sized bites. It might extend this way, or this way, but that spot, that little peninsula, will just keep growing over time. Now, if you recall, that's just one eye, so let's go and look at the other eye and see anything going on with that eye. Now, the other thing that we also look at is this an accurate test? Where there are a lot of false positives, false negatives, fixation errors, where the patient's like darting their eyeballs around and not staying on task. And no, he was a rock star. He did amazingly well on this test. He didn't have anything like that at all happening. So if you recall, this was prior to him starting therapy with us, as I mentioned before, so post-stroke, but there was this little chunk that was there. It's kind of saying, hey, some normal vision might be going on here. So let's take a peek and see what's happening now. So here we are 4 months down the road. We still have that little chunk here, which actually is expanding and getting larger down this way. So it's growing and expanding. But now looky here, we have again another little peninsula in the exact same spot as the opposite eye. How amazing and cool is that? And if we go over here to corresponding charts to look at the numbers and say, hey, what's really going on? Because we've looked again, are there fixation errors? Was it, did he make a mistake and do a lot of false positives or false negatives? No, he didn't. So this is an accurate and good test. And over here we look at those numbers, and the numbers say, yeah, that's usable vision, back to normal, baby. So here's what's exciting. He's got two kind of peninsulas or islands of hope here, where this is opening up, which means the brain will continue to expand. In this case, it's going down for right now, but it will eventually expand out this way. And then we have this, which will expand this way, and this way. So eventually, this is just going to join up together to create a good open spot of completely normal vision that's returned. We typically tell our patients, based on some parameters, we expect to get anywhere from 10 to 80% of the visual field back in a 14 to 16 month course of time that we're working with you. And again, there are some specifics that we look at that tell us, are you going to be in that 10 to 50% range, or are you more likely to be in the 50 to 80% range of bringing your vision back? So there are things that we look at specifically for that. We can talk to each person individually. I break those down in consultation. So here's where you have a call to action. Your next step. If this is you or a loved one who's had a stroke and lost vision, we definitely would love to talk with you. Give us a call if you're local, 618-288-1489. If you're not local, that's okay. Go to our website, visionforlifeworks.com. You can schedule a consultation, which is the call to action. That's your next step. Schedule a consultation to find out how we might be able to help you restore some of your vision. And as always, if you've not done so already, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and pass this video on to someone else who might find it helpful to them. Thank you.